Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Coming live from Pride for Heart, children of God, and that's you, and that's you, and that's me, and that's me, I hope. All of you. So I'm gonna go over a couple things. Maybe I can stay on track better. Actually, right when I started the video, Hip started. He was over there playing, and then it's been real bad lately. So April 5th, it's through the ARC, the Alliance of Responsible Citizenship. It's a meetup or a rally. I have no idea yet. Just throwing it out there before I go on to something else. Or I don't know if it's something I can make it down to if this current situation doesn't get resolved because I'm on a bond. April 5th, 2025, the Alliance of Responsible Citizenship. And where, I don't even know where this is either, so you could just look that up. Once again, the Alliance of Responsible Citizenship. Okay. We're going to go back in time and just try to help you understand like why we're where we are and what will take place. How long, I don't know. I don't know none of the details of what's going on, not only in our country, but the world. But I do know specifically in our country that the takedown has been planned for a long time, and it was also an inside job. Before our white brothers arrived to make us civilized men, we didn't have any kind of prison. And I first want to state very quickly, I don't believe that every Puritan, every white person that came over to this country was evil. But I do believe that they came in and they were part of the government at that time. And we'll be paying for these sins in this country for a long time, because this isn't the only sins of our government. There's many, many, many more. I'm not blaming you as a citizen. Now, if you were a slave owner and you liked it, or you actually are extremely segregated mentally, you really have issues with different types of cultures and people, you need to be mentally assessed. But before our white brothers arrived to make us civilized men, we didn't have any kind of prison because of this. We had no delinquents. Without a prison, there can be no delinquents. We had no locks nor keys, and therefore among us there were no thieves. When someone was so poor that he couldn't afford a horse, a tent, or a blanket, he would in that case receive it all as a gift. We were too uncivilized to give great importance to private property. We didn't know any kind of money, and consequently the value of a human being was not determined by his wealth. We had no written laws laid down, no lawyers, no politicians. Therefore, we were not able to cheat and swindle one another. We were really in bad shape before the white man arrived, and I don't know how to explain how we were able to manage without these fundamental things that, so they tell us, are so necessary for a civilized society. This was through John Fire Lamedeer, DEER, Sioux Lakota, 1903 to 1976 is when he passed. When all the trees have been cut down, when all the animals have been hunted, when all the waters are polluted, and when all the air is unsafe to breathe, only then will you discover you cannot eat money. Cree prophecy. The next one was cut off, so I'm not going to get into that. Well, I'll just start the first part of it. Maybe it'll give you something you can look up. If the white man wants to live in peace with the Indian, he can live in peace. Treat all men alike, give them all the same law, give them all even chance to live and grow. All men were made by the same great spirit chief. They're all brothers and sisters. I added sisters. The earth is the mother of all people, and all people should have equal rights upon it. Let me be a free man, free to travel, and then it lists all the things of human freedom. Song I had wrote in 2005 or 6, somewhere in that time frame. Just more or less about where we are now. Locked up in a hole of nothingness. That's technology, because it's like it gathers people, but yet it's a form of isolation because it's not real. Set us free from our loneliness. Suicide rates are at the all-time high. They've been increasing with social media platforms. It's affected our youth in adverse ways. Not just I added those are just words about what I wrote here, because the song itself is somewhat not clear to the naked eye. Not just I, society in whole, trapping ourselves in monetary goals, brainwashed, effed up ways. This particular song was done in more of a growl metal style. This was not one that we would have did in church. We had one specific song we shared with some churches. Locked up in a hole of nothingness, set us free from our loneliness. This phony higher society cloned, pressuring us as if this is the only show, meaning the leaders, the dark side. It was me insulting the practice of cloning when they started the cloning experiments. Was that back during Clinton? It was quite a while ago. What mentality, God help us please. And the cloned comment also comes with those that run the world that started tampering with DNA at an excessive rate and all the human experiments that go on right under your nose. And targeting of certain people in society that shouldn't be targeted, but yet the ones that are evil and doing wrong to the world and society at large are protected in most instances. More so than the victims of circumstance. What shady foes we have become. Keep stabbing our brother in the back. This is what we'll get. What shady foes we have become. Is it to the end? Or can we re-evolve into something real, if ever again? That's to do with what I was discussing, backstabbing, knocking down whoever you can to get where you want to get, regardless of how you go about it. And also the fakeness of our society. Fake teeth. Injections, fake boobs, liposuction, reconstruction, Botox, just cover after cover after cover. Now we have the AI on the rise. So John 15 is more or less the breakdown. This is all of Jesus's words, and it's discussing. If you're having a bad day and you're like, I'm pretty sure this isn't working right. I'm following Jesus now, and now I have more going wrong than I had before. Well, the devil doesn't like when people get to Jesus, especially if they come from a bloodline that does not put Jesus first in the family line. Oh, this is cute. So, and numerous other things. You might be born into an occult. You might be born into a cult. The relationship of believers to Christ, the relationship of believers to each other, the relationship of believers to the world. I am the true vine, and my Father is the husbandman. Every branch in me that beareth not fruit, he takes away. And every branch that bears fruit, he purgeth it, and it may bring forth more fruit. He prunes it. He allows his disciples to be tested, to be cleansed. Sometimes we have those dark corridors in our soul, and we think that we're going to take religiosity, religion, or whatever, and cover it up. And that's part of that process with Christ. Now you are clean through the word which I have spoken unto you. Abide in me, and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit of itself, except it abide in the vines, no more can ye except ye abide in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. He that abideth in me, I in him, the same brings forth much fruit, for without me you can do nothing. You can in a selfish right, but if you want it to be done right, you do it through Christ, no matter what the command is. And he will bless you later for your faithfulness. If a man abideth not in me, if a man abide not in me, he is cast forth as a branch, and is withered, and men gather them, and cast them into the fire, and they are burned. If you abide in me, and my words abide in you, you shall ask what you will, and it shall be done unto you. Herein is my Father glorified, that you bear much fruit, so shall you be my disciples. But verse 7, that's not like a genie in the bottle, okay? So he wants your heart fixed on things that are important. It's not going to be necessarily that important to God if you say, I really need a 5-bedroom house that's 5,000 acres, or excuse me, 5,000 square foot big, because I'm just that special. If you don't know your calling and you're petitioning the Lord and your petitions are selfishly governed, chances are you're not going to see those come to light. Verse 8, wherein is my Father glorified, that ye bear much fruit, so shall ye be my disciples. As the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. Continue you in my love. If you keep my commandments, you shall abide in my love, even as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. These things have I spoken unto you, that my joy might remain in you, and that your joy might be full. I wasn't having any sinusing until I came on here. The relationship of believers to each other. This is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you. Greater love has no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. I only know one. I've only met one in my life. And he's out working his ass off right now. So, I mean, I could try really hard here to think, but, and I've met thousands upon thousands of people. If I count the skating alone with, and all of the friends back when they were just like, you just need to get out. And it was like, it wasn't that easy. You know, they didn't know what was going on. Did anyone ever mention I barely talked about the man who raised me? Yeah, because he was scary. He was super scary. Scarier than the woman that was glued to me, you know. Destroying everything. I mean, these two are like worse than Grant through Richmond. So we are now in the relationship of believers to each other, and then the relationship of believers to the world. And we're going to just pause for a moment. That was about 11. If ye keep my commandments, ye shall abide in my love, and as I have kept my Father's commandments, and I abide in his love. These things have I spoken unto you, that my joy might remain in you, and that your joy might be full. Excuse me, I'm going to clear my throat. If you'd like to pause for a moment and come back, that would be best. And I'm going to have to blow my nose. Super sorry about that. That was ridiculous. So the relationship of believers to each other. This is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you. Greater love that no man than a man lay down his life for his friends. Ye are my friends, if you do whatsoever I command you. Henceforth I call you not servants, for the servant knows not what his Lord does, but I have called you friends. For all things that I have heard of my Father I have made known unto you. Ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you, and ordained you that you should go and bring forth fruit, and that your fruit should remain, that whatsoever ye shall ask of the Father in my name, he may give it to you. These things I command you, that you love one another. So we're all chosen, or we wouldn't be born. It's a situation where do you follow the lead of your Father in heaven in your spirit with the Holy Ghost? Do you follow why you were made? Or do you just follow what you think you were made to do? Or do you decide what your career, what you're going to do with your life, and then ask Jesus to kind of just, maybe if he could just, I don't know, come visit or get in the passenger seat with you, but you didn't put him in the driver's seat, so therefore you still own your own life. You have not given your life to Christ. And we will be held accountable for what we denied and will be held accountable to some degree. It's going to depend on what your calling is and what your purpose was with the Lord. The relationship of believers to the world, and this is what you want to focus on when you're really just not clear, but you always want to weed out if there is something that you've done. Like, for instance, I had started to react to the neighbors' bullying and harassment, vandalizing, stalking our property, coming in our home. This was the prior one. And I started to speak out because years prior, I just went along with it, especially if it was older people, like in the double wide. And but then it got to the point where they were like nearly inside my trailer, and so then you have to start creating extra boundaries. But for some reason with me, I've noticed with people, if I stand firm, it enrages them. And I don't mean I get loud and obnoxious. Now, I've done that too, which I'm not proud of, but it's just like they don't hear me. It's just like, here's my phone number. Can you please call before you're knocking on my door, type of thing. I have nothing wrong with someone if they were to just pop up in a surprise. If we had a good past together and our relationship, for whatever reason, was there, had to go somewhere and I had to go somewhere and we came back. But I'm talking about like a daily stalking situation with a neighbor. Okay, so there's another pause for you. The relationship, to just think about what we've already read, and then we're going to try to tie that in with the relationship of believers to the world. This is John 15. If the world hate you, you know that it hated me before it hated you. If you were of the world would love his own, but because you are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hates you. Remember the word that I said unto you, the servant is not greater than his Lord. If they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you. If they have kept my saying, they will keep yours also. But all these things will they do unto you for my name's sake, because they know not him that sent me. If I had not come and spoken unto them, they had not had sin. But now they have no cloak for their sin, because they blatantly denied him. They denied God's miracles and words and warnings and what the temple was truly to be used for. He was angry about politics and merchants coming into the temple. Things were becoming commodities. There was still hidden sins. They were trying to cover sins that were not to be covered because they were so blasphemous and out of control. They were performing prostitution within some of the church regions. I don't know where, but let's just say it was a new twist on worshiping God. No, not new. It's been going on for a really long time. A lot of us are just ready for Judgment Day, but we probably won't see it in time before we're exited from here. When God Creator allows us. Okay, 3 more verses, if you can handle it. He that hates me hates my Father also. If I had not done among them the works which none other man did, they had not had sin. But now they have both seen, and hated both me and my Father. But this cometh to pass that the word might be fulfilled that is written in their law, they hated me without a cause. They made up a lot of causes. Lied, called him a lunatic, a heresy, a devil, anything that you can say the worst about someone, they said about our Father in heaven when he was visiting the people. The promise of the Holy Spirit. Old Testament was fulfilled by Jesus Christ, the blood that he shed for our sins. Right now, if you were murdering people, you could go to Jesus throw yourself on the ground and beg him to make you a better person and stop murdering people. Or turn yourself into prison and do a prison term and take some focused time to reform yourself. That's how gracious and loving Jesus is. The promise of the Holy Spirit. But when the Comforter is come, whom I will send unto you from the Father, even the Spirit of truth, which proceedeth from the Father, he shall testify of me, and ye also shall bear witness, because you have been with me from the beginning. And we're going to go through 16 some more. These things have I spoken unto you, that you should not be offended, should not stumble. Oops, sorry about that. They shall put you out of the synagogues. Yea, the time comes that whosoever kills you will think that he does God's service. Are you listening? Oh, this is really paramount. It's really paramount. These things I have spoken unto you, that you should not be offended. Made to stumble, meaning to get off track on your walk, to keep ruminating and bringing up the offenses of the police like I have for 4 months, because it was quite alarming, and it's quite a large group now coordinating this. And but see, that's a distraction. Plus I work with my hands mostly. All of my art forms, or what I do, my skill set is I work with my hands. I do art. I do this. I do that. I make this. I sew that. I tie this. I duct tape that temporarily because it's broke. And then my husband comes home and helps me fix. I work with my hands. So, love gardening, drumming, music. I'm still healing. And from what I'm seeing, I'm going to have to be wrapping my wrists with everything that I do. So. These things have I spoken unto you, that you should not be offended. They shall put you out of the synagogues. Ye, that time comes that whosoever kills you will think that he does God's service. And that these things will they do unto you, because they have not known the Father nor me. But these things have I told you, that when the time shall come, you may remember that I told you of them. And these things I said not unto you at the beginning, because I was with you. But now I go my way to him that sent me, and none of you ask me, whither goest thou? But because I have said these things unto you, sorrow has filled your heart. Nevertheless, I tell you the truth, it is expedient for you that I go away. For if I go not away, the Comforter will not come unto you. But if I depart, I will send him unto you. And when he is come, he will reprove the world of sin, and of the righteousness, and of judgment. And of sin, because they believe not on me. Of righteousness, because I go to my Father, and ye see me no more. Of judgment, because the prince of the world is judged. I have yet many things to say unto you, but ye cannot bear them now. Howbeit, when he, the Spirit of truth, is come, he will guide you into all truth, and he shall not speak of himself, but whatsoever he shall hear, that shall he speak, and he will show you things to come. He shall glorify me, for he shall receive of mine, and shall show it unto you. All things that the Father has are mine, therefore said I, that he shall take of mine, and shall show unto you. The predictions of Christ's death and resurrection. We'll come back to that around Easter. I've been known to read these chapters before. They're extremely important. The part where Jesus is saying, you will go out and speak, we are his vessels, so what are we doing? What's the point? You could kind of think that sometimes in America. I mean, everywhere you look around, there's maybe a church, or everywhere you look around, people know of Jesus, or they say they like Jesus. Some of the people that have plotted and schemed to have us killed actually said they were Christians. So if that gives you any idea of how lost people are, is even if they're not going fully by New Testament, I mean, it's Old Testament is thou shalt not kill, unwarranted, like just going around because you're told about this, about that, and so you should kill this person. So the point of us finding Jesus is to spread the gospel. If we don't have a good news story of our own, of the saving grace of Jesus on us, my heart was starting to go more cold. I know it's hard to believe, but and it wasn't pretty for my type of personality, because I was getting so blocked off. I was somewhat like detached from my own existence, from compounded entrapment with birth family, losing a slew of friends from my family also, and probably from my, I don't know, I'm probably not looking the most stable behavior at that time, because when you're trapped for over 18 years, it goes into 28 years, it goes in, and then you're realizing that the very ones that raised you were behind most of the madness that came your way, and the hurt and the pain and the destruction. You start to see things very differently. Is that anyone can say that they're something that they're not, but it's mainly what you can definitely tell by is who do they keep company with. We've learned some of the most murderous types have more supposed associates and friends than people that we know that are decently good people. They're not involved in anything illegal. They're just trying to get by in life, and they're hammered left and right. So definitely can't go by who's winning the popularity contest. I mean, didn't we all learn that in school back in the day, that some of the most popular were the biggest fakes, and probably some of the biggest assholes at home, morning, noon, and night, if you lived with one. So sometimes we're going to forget, and it's naturally born in us. We want to be liked. It's human nature. Some of us we learned about humans and their betrayal so early. We had to dig deeper. We couldn't base it on if mommy and daddy were really proud of us and the things that we were made to do, meaning what we were created to do. There's just certain types of people in the world, and those are the ones targeted. There. They knew most crowds were full of dummies, and they were always hesitant before they dove into one. Kind of sit back and watch their peers more often, see what kind of monsters they were dealing with, sift out the good from the bad. A lot of us had to exist that way. Lots of times I just gave people chances. I knew that it would hurt me in the end, but I feel that was part of my walk. I did. But then it got to be too extended. So I was still going into my 30s, giving people, the wrong people, just chances, even just a chance to string a sentence together that was truth. I mean, it didn't become like an entertainment or anything, but I did. I didn't test their anger. I tested their integrity. I tested their consistency in their words and their deeds and their acts. And when I started to see some sabotageal tendencies come out in them, I said something. Now, I know now that that's not what we're supposed to do, because you can bring more trouble your way, but mine was already so heapingly large because I had caught so many predators with children and other stuff that they had started the case against me to mess me up way before I was even aware of what was going on. So, but God is good, and God will fix whatever he's going to fix when he fixes it. And like I've said a lot too, may never get fixed. That's fine. These testimonies are for me and my husband and those that are decent. But So even though it's kind of an oxymoron in our modern world, if you find that you're not doing anything horribly awful all the time, you're not meddling in people's lives, you're really trying to just follow the A, B's, and C's of Jesus, and you still got people coming after you, know that you're on the right track. And don't stumble. You will. You will. You will in the beginning. You will. You'll get stronger as you go. And God will strengthen your spirit so that when things happen to you physically, or you're tortured, or you're whatever, poisoned and all of that, God will heal you. He will heal you. You may not heal up as best as you did. Like, I can't say I heal up like I did in high school or out of high school when I learned how to get my immune system more in order on my own with natural stuff. You will heal differently as you get older, but if you have a strong spirit with Jesus and you've been in those isolated, alone spots, and you are very certain that maybe at that time you even deserved to be treated horrible, you didn't. You didn't. It's just vast majorities of people worship money even when they say they love Jesus. And if push came to shove, they love money more than Jesus. They're just lying to themselves, and they're lying to you, and they're lying to their church, and they're lying to their family. And you'll find here soon more people worship money than they worship God. So I love you. And now I've got an ice problem out back. Yeah. So didn't work out like I thought. Because of the different weather here now, and they have it so monitored and altered because of Fermi and stuff nearby. And it could just be an experimental hub. Weather experimental hub. Knowing this town, they're so stupid, the ones that run it. They probably just took the money for it, didn't care, and protected more pedophiles and rapists. Okay, so that's part of my mission too, or see, I wouldn't still be stuck in Monroe, right? I just was going about it the wrong way for a long time. So now one of my main focus points for my show is Monroe, Michigan. Yay!